Yo, internet, how's it going? Today I'm gonna be talking about Destiny 3 and the possibilities of that. So, without further ado, there was a leak that came out talking about, or at least somebody leaked some information about Destiny 3 and what they plan on doing with it, like in light of Destiny 3. Now, starting out, like this is basically the bare bones stuff. Is that this year, like Destiny Year 3, they're not gonna do anything big with it. They're gonna do they're not gonna put out a big fall, Taken King, Rise of Iron type of expansion. They're just gonna put out another annual pass. Then they're gonna put all their chips into making Destiny 3. Because again, remember, this was supposed to be a 10-year game. Again, because it's an MMO, obviously. And that they're gonna put in some brand new locations. They're gonna put in some brand new enemies. Finally, that aren't just reskins of others. The story is that the reason the Veil is here because during the collapse, their god was slain, and now they're trying to use the Traveler to awaken their god from the dead, which sounds bad, you know, but I guess by this point in time, it's like either that Taken shard has finally reformed back into one giant thing, or we're still the only what did they call us? The Awakened, I guess. Like the light people. The people who can grab power from the Traveler. Like, we're the only person like who still has that now, so. And the plenty of people like who actually own the disc or have loaded the game. You know, that kind of thing. The design of the game is supposed to be a bit more PvE heavy and kind of talk a little bit more about what's going on there. But this little design thing, I got to carry that over to the next article, because obviously there was a rumor going around that Destiny 3 was gonna abandon the PvP thing and that they were just gonna focus on PvE. Which, to a certain extent, I really can't say that they're wrong from it, but here's basically the idea of it. Destiny 3 is considering dropping PvP and the traditional Crucible, and they are instead looking at something that works potentially like the Division's Dark Zone, blending PvP and PvE, which, to a certain extent, I can see how that would necessarily evolve into that, because, you know, like PvP, like it kind of has, I mean, like PvP to me, it always kind of came about in certain games where that they kind of needed it to sort of to sort of off balance the fact that either they have a extremely like by the book story, or at least like that they're not gonna go away from like the beaten path. It's a single player story. You play through it at your own accord and you have fun with it. Sort of like how a Call of Duty game is, where the story missions are just like, I mean like you can't invite a friend. The missions are how they are, and the story plays out just the way how that it's supposed to play out. This is all you get, and we're not gonna expand on it. So we have a PvP mode for you. And in other cases, it's like, well, we don't have enough, or it's like we didn't put enough within the game to kind of like justify a $60 price tag. So here's some PvP, here's a Crucible, here's this other kind of thing, which to be fair, like Destiny kind of falls into the latter here, where that anybody who's played a Destiny game and has beaten the story modes of DLC and main game, you say, like, we all know that most of the time they feel really short, because it's like, well, are you putting more time into the Crucible? Are you putting more time into the Gambit? And this is kind of like a what if they didn't necessarily focus on PvP, if they focus more on the story mode. Then yeah, I can honestly see that these games that they might be a little bit longer and that they might be okay. And of course, Bungie, they did confirm, I don't know if I said this already, but they did confirm that PvP was actually going to be in the game, so we don't gotta worry about that. But this is actually the big thing that I really did want to talk about, which was Destiny 3 will be reportedly having more RPG elements, which obviously, like, you know, they did say that they want this to be catered more to their hardcore fans. They wanted it to be for people who actually like the game and that they can't get enough of it and that they want to just come back and keep playing it. And to a certain extent, okay, is that from what I understand, because from me playing Destiny, from me playing The Division, from me playing most first-person games that claim to have RPG elements, this even goes into Wolfenstein and plenty of other games, right? Which I'm not sure Wolfenstein even claims that it has it. It just, like, it's more or less like you get specific attachments for your the guns, which is a cool thing that even Doom has, right? But the crazy thing is that most of these games that get out here and claim that we want to have a lot of RPG elements, most of them are really on the fence about it, and they're not going as deep as they possibly can. The only game that I really know that goes, I mean, like, that I can name at the moment, like at the top of my head, that does that is Borderlands. And it's not necessarily because I'm a Borderlands fan and whatnot. Borderlands does tabletop, but it does it in the same way how, like, that a game like Diablo does it, where that specifically each character has their own skill tree or skill trees, and they change and morph the character depending on who's playing the game, you know. Such as, basically, if you have a soldier and you want more recoil, if you want to put more stuff like within your turret, well, yeah, you can do that, because, like, this is what it's about. If you have a siren, she can be a healer, she can be she can have way more elemental damage, you know what I mean? If you want to be a sniper, you can say, hey man, like, I'm more built for long range. Or you can say, hey, like, I'm cool with having a revolver. Like there's a RPG element there, to where that there's enough of a change to where that if you want to put a lot of time into the game, that there's a change there. Like, nothing against Destiny 3, or Destiny in a whole, but Destiny is a bit like, again, like, you compare it to The Division, which they're just on the wall, like they barely count as an as an RPG game, and they barely count as a game that's trying to put RPG elements within their game. I mean, sure, you level up, sure, you get skill points, and sure, you have classes and specific abilities that only hunters, titans, and warlocks have. Problem with that is that the only real difference between them is like, okay, the warlock can shoot lightning, create black holes, and probably do the Phoenix thing. That's cool. Like, this is my special ability. This is my grenade. This is my, I want to say, this is my special ability. But the way how that they use guns, the way how that I mean, like, the guns that they have access to, the way how that they move, the way how that they traverse the area, it's all the same, you know. I mean, like, there is a difference in Borderlands, like, or at least, like, there's a big enough difference between each character to where that if you picked up the game again and you try to say, you know what, I actually want to play as Zero, you get, like, there's a very different play style from playing as Gage, or playing as Accident, or playing as Creed. Like there's enough of a difference. If I'm playing Destiny, I have a warlock, right? Specifically, there's no reason for me to go back and create a Titan or a Hunter, because that's just wasted time on my part, because there's no reason for me to do that. Like, they all have access to the same weapons, the same armor, even if it looks different. They have access to basically, like, the same melee attacks, the same grenades to a certain extent. You know, like, if you change, like, the little properties on them, I still have a melee that does a lot of damage that can basically one-shot somebody. You know, which specifically, like, that's kind of the only real difference, is basically the properties that do affect their grenades, their special abilities, and also their the grenades, special abilities, and melee. Like, that's about it. I get the same guns, I get the same story, I get the, like, there's nothing specific about them enough to where that I'm saying, well, yeah, I gotta do that. Now, I say this to say that if they're gonna put RPG elements in there, and coupled with the previous thing of what I said of if they took out the Crucible or they didn't put as much focus on it, even if there are a lot of people who really like it, the only thing that I mean, like, because Destiny really needs a heavy push in the PvE department, because for as much as I like Destiny, for as much as I like that game, now mind you, I do like Destiny. I like the first one, I like the second one, I might end up liking the third one, but like there is a universal problem with it, and it is like that game, like in a whole, like its real problem, get rid of you. Sorry about that. Like, its main problem, it is the fact that most of what's within the game, like its story isn't necessarily told in a way, or at least like they don't put as much focus on the story as they do everything else. Because I am one of the few people like who did play like the Forsaken and everything else, and the Forsaken is a step in the right direction. The problem with that is that all of the other stuff prior to that, too short, they don't develop it enough, or most likely they end it like when things are getting good, and then that's the end of the DLC, or that's the end of the story, or that's the end of the game. The Forsaken stuff was really amazing. The cool cutscenes, the enemies you fight, everything in there is a step in the right direction for what they have right now, like with their Division S kind of leveling and whatnot, to where that the armor you have, it's cool, but none of it really changes too much. Or yeah, man, the guns, they do have specific attachments to them, but they don't really feel as though they change combat all that much. But still, from what they have there, it's like it's not really a bad thing. But I will say that if they did more of that, then yeah, it having a super good RPG moment, wonderful. But that is what I gotta say about that. Sorry for this long tirade about video games and Destiny and what I think about it. But I'll catch you on the next John Graves show. I'm out.